Welcome to Money Talks. I'm Nancy Stark, and with me here today is Deanna Booker. Deanna is a very gifted person and very knowledgeable. She's our financial expert, and she's also the Community Outreach Manager for Consumer Credit Counseling Service of Maryland and Delaware. Deanna, tell us a little bit about what you guys do.
I don't think I can because I'm still stuck on you calling me gifted.
Oh, I'll go on if you'd like for me to.
We're a nonprofit agency, and we are providing all kinds of financial education and financial counseling to folks who need it. So we're doing credit counseling and budget counseling and housing counseling, bankruptcy counseling, just anything we can. We've been serving folks here on the Eastern Shore since 1966, a long time. Yeah. And just kind of spreading the gospel, if you will, of financial literacy any way we can.
Well, you guys do a bang-up job.
And thank you.
For those of you who are here in Salisbury, it's good to know that they have local offices here, right here in Salisbury, also in Easton and in Dover. Today, where we're into October, and October 20th through 26th is actually Protect Your Identity Week.
That's right.
I thought we would spend the entire program talking about this really vital issue.
Sure.
Identity theft is something that can happen to any of us. But before we really start into it, Dee, could you describe for us what exactly is identity theft? How does it work?
Sure. Identity theft is when a thief steals your personal identifying information and uses it to commit fraud or other crimes. And like you said, identity theft can happen to any of us. Any of us. The FTC estimates that 9 million Americans, 9 million
That's a lot
people
of people.
every year, right, every year are the victims of identity theft. So it's huge. It's actually the biggest complaint. You know, when folks lodge complaints at the FTC, identity theft, right, identity theft is the biggest complaint that they receive, and we're all at risk. We really are.
And how does it work?
Well, a thief will use your personal identifying information to, open up an account in your name, or to get a bank account, or if they steal your credit card information, they might use it, to buy big ticket items like computers or something that they could then turn around and sell. So it's all that kind of thing. They may, steal your checkbook and write bad checks against it, that sort of thing. So it's all kinds of, and it's getting bigger. It's getting bigger. The way that identity
The more
thieves,
ways that we communicate, the more things there are that they can
exactly. The
information
ways that thieves are using and obtaining our information is growing. So it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem.
Let's talk a little bit. How exactly do they obtain the information?
Well, there's so many ways, and it's really sad. It's sad to say. They may, again, just outright steal something, so if they steal your purse or steal your wallet, and so now they've got your credit cards or they've got your checkbook and that kind of thing. They're maybe doing something that we call dumpster diving, where they're accessing your information that way. So there are all kinds of ways, if you have people that are coming into your house, maybe to do work, or maybe that you employ. There are all kinds of ways that we leave ourselves open, unfortunately, for identity thieves to victimize us.
That's really interesting. On that note, I think we're going to get started. We've got a number of topics that are related to identity theft to discuss, and also we've got a number of viewer questions.
Oh, good.
So we're going to start right out with our first viewer question. It's from Landa. And she writes, I've heard that identity theft can take place anywhere and that it's common for the thief to be someone that you actually know. If that's true, what can we do to make sure we don't get victimized at home?
Yeah, unfortunately, Landa, that is true. Usually, the person that's stealing our identity is somebody that we know, even family members, They
say 50% or so.
50%, exactly. So there are some things that we need to be conscious of doing around the home. You want to make sure that all of your sensitive documents, your personal financial records, that they are locked in a safe place, in a room, locked in a box, something like that. You don't just want to leave your bank statements and your credit card statements and things like that laying
Sitting
around.
out.
Exactly, for anybody to see them. You want to make sure that those things are kept somewhere safe. Again, just like I was alluding to before, especially if you employ outside help in your home, or if you have people coming into your home to do work or that kind of thing, you want to make sure that those documents are put away. All of your credit cards, your debit cards, that sort of thing. They're not just out. They're not just sitting in a
So
purse.
you're not going to leave your purse out
Right,
either.
exactly, where
Right.
somebody could just reach in and take them. You want to make sure that you lock things up. That's the main thing for in the house.
That's interesting. I know at home another area that's a really common area for identity theft is your mail.
Absolutely.
And based on that, we have a question from Larry. He writes, one of my neighbors recently found out someone went through his mail and used his identity to open a new credit card account.
Oh my goodness.
How can this happen?
And it's, oh my gosh, it's terrible. But
Yes.
it does happen, and it happens
Gives you
a lot.
shiver thinking about it.
It really does. If you, and we've all done it, you know, you put mail in the box and you lift that little red flag up to let the
That's
mailman
like saying,
know.
come and get it.
Exactly. That red flag is also letting every or any identity thief that might be around, letting them know too that there's something sensitive or something maybe worth taking in that box. So you want to, if you can avoid it, you want to stay away from putting that kind of thing, bank statements, bill payments, that sort of thing. You don't want to leave that kind of stuff in an unsecured mailbox. Take
That
it to
makes
the
sense.
post office, right? Drop it in a post office
If you're
deposit box.
if it's mail that
Exactly.
you're sending out.
Exactly.
Right.
Now, if you don't have a secure mailbox, you might want to think about investing in one.
That makes
you
sense.
know, but even short of that, you want to at least make sure you're taking things to the post office. You're not leaving them in the mailbox, and also not allowing the children. This is something I just thought of. A lot of times we send the kids out to the mailbox.
Yeah, go
Pick
get
up
it.
the mail, or when you get off the bus,
I'm busy.
you know, right? You know, stop at the mailbox and pick it up. You want to stay away from that if you can, especially if there's a possibility that children might, you know, drop something or lose something or leave something in the box again that would be, you know, that an identity thief would be able to pick up. So you just want to be careful around the way that you're handling your mail, because just like the person who wrote the letter, it's absolutely right. Thieves will come directly to your mailbox and take out things that you leave there.
Wow.
So maybe even consider renting a P.O. box, talking
Right.
about the post office, just something to get that sensitive mail out of
Have a more secure place to have
Exactly.
it delivered.
Exactly.
Those are all really good points. Now, you had mentioned dumpster diving earlier, and that certainly, the trash is another area at home that kind of is a no-no area when it comes to
Exactly.
identity theft. How can we deal with identity theft in the trash?
Right, and we don't think about it. It's trash,
No,
you know,
we
we don't
don't.
think about it. But if you thought about it, I think it would come to the minds of a lot of folks. How many times have you thrown away junk mail unopened?
A lot of
You know,
times,
a lot. We all do it. We all
yes.
do it. But thieves know that. And so they are literally dumpster diving. They are going into our trash, going into the dumpsters, into the trash cans, and looking for that kind of sensitive information. So not just the junk mail, where you want to make sure you tear off the labels and anything that could identify you, that kind of data, you want to make sure you
Right.
take that off. But even more than that, old utility bills, old bank statements, credit card bills, that kind of thing. If you're going to throw, if you're going to throw that sort of thing away, you want to make sure that you're not just dropping it in a trash
Right.
can, that you're cross-cut shredding it, that you're confetti shredding it. I think for everybody, invest in a little, you know, personal
A paper
at-home
shredder.
shredder. Absolutely.
Right.
It's a great investment. Shred that kind of thing before you throw it out. Another thing I think that we don't think about a lot, you want to keep your garbage cans in a protected area. And you think, well, who protects their trash? But
Right.
you really want to keep it in an area that's away from the street.
It's harder
you know,
for someone
it's
to
harder
get
for somebody
into.
to approach. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly
that makes
right.
full sense. Another tip that I heard that I thought was really interesting is to take the labels off of prescription bottles.
Exactly.
And like when you have thumb drives or flash drives,
Exactly.
data that you're disposing of, make sure that it's not readable, that it's been destroyed.
That's excellent. I'm so glad you made
Yeah.
that point, especially prescription bottles. And like you said, thumb drives, flash drives, all that non-paper, DVDs, CDs,
right.
all of that non-paper kind of trash. You definitely want to make sure that you're securing that properly before you throw it away. That's a great point.
It's fully destroyed.
Right.
It's interesting. Another area that we have where we're really at risk, I think, for identity theft is electronically. Our computers, our laptops, our smartphones. How can you avoid becoming a victim of identity theft when it comes to these areas?
Well, I think our computers, when you turn your computer on and you're connected to the internet, you're connected and you're open to a wide variety of services and products and entertainment and all of that, and it's a wonderful thing. But also, every time you turn that computer on, you're opening yourself up, to identity thieves, to scammers and that kind of thing. So you really want to be cautious about what you're doing with your computer. You want to make sure that you've got strong passwords, for accounts that maybe you view online, that you're not just using your birth date or the word password.
That is supposed to be the most popular password is password.
You want to make sure that your passwords are a combination of letters and numbers and special characters, so they'd be harder, for a thief to figure out. But you're right, our computers are, they really, really do make us vulnerable, when it comes to a lot of the scams and a lot of the things that identity thieves are trying.
Speaking of that, what about phishing? As far as with email?
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going. You never want to follow a link. Say you get an email that's purportedly from your bank or your financial institution that says follow the link to, this link to go here. You never want to do that, only because more than likely there's an identity thief, a phisher on the end of that.
Reeling in your information.
Exactly. At a fake website ready to take all of your personal information. So you just want to be cautious. You don't want to do business online with, unless you trust that business. You've worked with them before. It's a secure site. You see that little padlock up in the top, where the address is. You want to make sure that you trust the businesses that you're dealing with online. You just have to be very careful.
What would you suggest as far as in making our smartphones secure?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. More and more we're attached to our phones, and so I think that again we just have to be cautious. I don't think that it's a good idea to make online purchases or do mobile banking when we're on our smartphones and we're in public places using public Wi-Fi. You're in the cafe or you're in the airport or you're at the hotel. It's not a good time.
As much as you have time to kill, you could really be leaving yourself open.
But it really isn't a good time to do or handle those kinds of transactions, because a lot of those Wi-Fi connections aren't secure. So any identity thief out there who's able to get online, they'd be able to see all of your passwords and your account numbers and that sort of thing. So you just want to make sure that you're cautious about it. And again, back to passwords, you want to password protect your mobile phones as well.
Oh, that's a good point.
Definitely. You definitely want to do that, because if it's lost or if it's stolen, if it's password protected, it's going to make it harder for a thief to be able to get into it and get to that data. Like you were mentioning, there are all kinds of apps, that you can download that are going to help. If your phone is lost or stolen, that'll wipe the data. Help you locate it, right? Exactly.
But also wipe the
data off. So I think again, it's just about being cautious about all of our electronic devices and how and where we're using them.
And we have so many of them.
Oh yes.
Well, speaking of identity theft, I had a little identity theft moment myself recently.
Oh no!
My husband and I, we went to a movie. And I left the theater and suddenly realized I didn't have my purse.
Oh my goodness.
I had left it either in the theater or in the restroom, and when we went back, guess what? It was nowhere to be found.
Oh no.
So I spent the whole afternoon after we got home calling my credit card companies, the debit my bank, and having my accounts closed and to deal with it from that point of view. But it made me wonder, how much personal information should you really take with you when you go out?
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. But that's a great question though, and probably like you have found out, less is better. When we're out.
I definitely say that's true.
Right. When it comes to the personal identification information that we're carrying around, you just want to limit it. You don't want to carry every one of your credit cards or every one of your debit cards. Your checkbook. If you don't have to take it out, don't bring it with you. Most importantly, your Social Security card.
Oh, that's a really important one. That's like the golden touch right there.
It's the gateway. Your Social Security card is the gateway to your identity, or your Social Security number, I should say, is the gateway to your identity. And unless you have a specific reason that you're going to need it, you're going to have to show it somewhere, for something that you're doing, don't carry it around with you. It doesn't belong in your wallet. Put it somewhere safe and secure, because it really is, like we said, the gateway to your identity. So when it comes to what you should be carrying, less.